Hey guys, welcome to ShortSalePowerHour.com. I'm one of your hosts, Kevin Kaufman. This gentleman exiting with a drink in hand is Fred Weaver.
Yeah, I'm here to support our corporate sponsor for this week's episode.
Don't say the names; they might not like it. We're Group 4610, Arizona's premier short sale team. Welcome to Tactic Tuesday. I'm sorry. Does that have anything to do with anything?
No.
Okay.
I'm thirsty.
Well, all right. Fred's thirsty. In case I did I say that you're Fred Weaver and I'm Kevin Kaufman?
I think so. And this is ShortSalePowerHour.com. And today's episode...
Not .org.
.com.
Not .uk. Not .us.
Okay, stop
not
stalling.
.movie.
The real story is Kevin has no idea what we're going to talk about today. So he's depending upon me to come up with something. And I have something.
Tuesday.
He doesn't know
Really?
that, though. It's Tactic Tuesday.
Is it because you were just reading the blog?
No, it's actually not.
You don't want to talk about Martin's blog?
I don't want to talk about Martin's blog.
Can we tell people to go read Martin's blog?
Yes, you should go to MandelmanMatters.com.
Check it out. He's also on MLplode.com or something like that.
Mandelman Matters. Our wonderful web guys, Drew and Dustin, will actually put a link down here so that you can check it out. There's just a really great article on there. It's pretty long, but it's really great. But I can't really say anything else about it other than it's great.
Most of his posts are great.
Yes. So, hey.
Leave it there.
Anyway, Kevin, you called today Tactic Tuesday.
What's your favorite tactic?
So, Kevin, I want to talk about the tactic of pricing listings.
That's something we've been...
see, you're excited. You thought I had nothing for you today.
That's a tactic we've been employing.
Yeah, so, guys, I want to just be real honest with you. We have struggled recently to get some offers on some of our listings. We found ourselves in a place where 2/3 of our listings were active a couple of weeks ago. 2/3. Now, that's a lot.
No bueno.
On average, we usually have somewhere between 25 and 35% of our listings are active and the rest are under contract. And for us, we found that's a pretty healthy balance of some sort. But because of what's going on specifically in the Phoenix market right now, some shifting happening, we found ourselves with over 60% of our listings active, which meant that we didn't have a whole lot to negotiate on. So the good news and the bad news is that we were able to get some approvals in less than 60 days because we were really focused on the files that we did have. The bad news is we had a huge pile of active listings and homeowners that we couldn't even do anything for, really, because we didn't have any offers.
Yeah, and really, here's what it's caused us to do. First of all, this really relates back to an episode we shot probably been a month or so ago now, where we talked about the decline that's coming in pricing, and the fact we're going to have to fight BPOs and things like that. So this really is all correlated back to that. But you and I have had to take on a little extra, I'll say, attention on the pricing of our homes.
Yeah.
And we've gone from, Fred and I traditionally, and you know this if you've ever been to our class, we've traditionally repriced our listings every 2 weeks.
Correct.
Like every other Friday we'd go in, we'd pull up the list of active listings, and we'd recomp them. Fred and I actually recomp all of our properties. Something that we don't do, and we don't recommend that you do either, is just drop by an arbitrary, say, 5 or 10% a week or every other week. That's not doing yourself any good. That's not helping your seller.
Well, because BPOs and appraisals aren't done in an arbitrary manner. Yeah. So you might as well look at the comps. So, yeah, I mean, we typically always reduce prices every other week or every 2 weeks, if you want to say it that way. And you and I had a conversation coming into this month of September, actually beginning the last week in August, where we said, hey, dude, do you think we got to do something different because the results we're getting right now...
we need some more offers.
We need more offers on our listings. It's not acceptable with what we have. And so we made the decision to, let's go ahead and price every week. And I will tell you that it's starting to work. Now, it's not just the repricing every week, so let's be really clear. But what we've done is when we've gone in and looked at these listings, what I've seen in the last, I'll call it 5 to 6 weeks, that I've really been obviously pricing a lot more than normal. Twice as much as normal, obviously.
Twice as much.
What I've really seen is an increased number of REO listings in the subdivisions where our particular listings are. And what I've noticed is that the sold comps tend to be... higher price per square footage than the active comps, or higher sales prices than the active comps, meaning that the market is declining, and that's what I'm seeing in nearly every subdivision of the homes that we have priced. The market is declining, and the lower priced properties in there are not sold, but they are in fact active listings. And one of the strategies you and I are really big on is making sure you price aggressively and appropriately. So in pricing every week, we've kind of taken things up another notch, another step up in our pricing. And what we've done is we've looked in the subdivisions, and the first thing I'm looking for is who's the lowest active in the subdivision, and how long have they been on the market, and most importantly, what kind of listing is this? And when I see bank-owned REO properties that are the cheapest price per square footage in a particular subdivision,
I love that.
I love that because number one, that actually tells me that bank understands that the market's declining, so they're pricing under everything else.
Their REO department does, anyways.
Their REO department does, and so what you and I do then is basically go and match, or even slightly a little bit less than that property. We'll go ahead and price our listing. And we do that because we know that REO listing's more likely to sell. That REO listing's potentially likely to get an offer on it before ours, maybe, because a lot of people look at REOs, and we're okay with that. We know that. But it tells us we've got to be aggressive.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of funny because we just talked about that bank might be intuitive to the fact that, hey, the corporate sponsors for the day, that the prices are going down. But what's really funny is, like, I overheard a conversation you had today with a second lien holder that was curious as to on a previously approved short sale, and you were coming back to them to get it reapproved.
Yeah, he goes.
They didn't like the new purchase price.
Well, because he told me, he said, I'll submit this for approval, right? You heard that phone call this morning, and then he called back like an hour later, and he goes, hey, dude, I'm sorry, I should have looked at this first, but when I asked you, like, if there's anything different, and you said the purchase price, but you said our net was going to be the same, I didn't think it would be a big deal, but I didn't realize your purchase price was that much less than it was last time. I'm like, well, dude, the last offer was from, like, the end of March of this year, 2010, and you guys took until the end of August to actually get me an approval on it. Now, granted, you were waiting for the first lien holder's approval, but I had that in the middle of July. You guys took 30-plus days. I had to fight with you to get the approval. And so in that fighting process with you guys, I lost the last buyer, which meant we went back on the market, and the price was like probably 15 or 20% less than it was in March. I'm not exaggerating.
At least.
But the values really dropped that much in that subdivision.
Well, and we're going to see more of that. And so, number one, one of the other benefits for pricing the homes every other week that, like, Fred and I have adjusted back to is we've got more of a history. I can show even more of a tick down. But number two, guys, that's just where it's going. So I highly recommend that you're even if you're not changing your prices, you're at least making yourself consciously aware of the changes out there in the market in the subdivisions you have listings in.
Yeah, and when you've got a market in decline, that typically means that the number of listings in the market is going up and the number of sales is going down. So when the number of listings is going up, you'll see those bank-owned properties and even the few equity sales in your neighborhood, they start pricing a lot more aggressively because the good realtors in the market recognize that the market's dropping, so they need to price below the competition and get in there and get an offer quickly and get out. Because waiting on the market 3 to 6 months is not going to produce an offer. In fact, 3 to 6 months later, you're going to wish you just dropped the price 5% rather than the 15% you have to drop, 3 to 6 months later.
Well, so it's that old, but that's
I mean, that's you can find that in the Shift book by Gary Keller, pricing ahead of the market. So anyway, let's wrap it up for today, Kevin, because we'll be back tomorrow. You and I've got a few more Wacky Wednesday.
Wacky Wednesday.
I love how you come up with I'll probably come up with the topic again, right?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, Wacky Wednesday. So hey, for those of you that are watching this today, we are actually in Austin, Texas. We just flew into Austin this morning. I know,
man, my arms are tired.
Right now, but we just flew into Austin this morning. We're attending Keller Williams Mega Agent Camp, and we're excited because next week we're going to have some great guests on the show. And I know some of you out there don't watch when we have guests because you think it's just like we ran out of content. Well, partially it's because we don't always like coming up with our own content, but honestly, we've put some really good guests on the show, including Elliot last week, and I won't even try to pronounce Elliot's last name. Tomaszewski, there you go. But Elliot, he got tons of comments and great content, and we're going to bring more of Elliot caliber people to the show next week.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that we've always really liked doing is bringing on a guest, not just because it takes the pressure off of us, but just the simple fact that it's good to learn about the other agents that are out in the business doing the same thing, maybe facing some of the same challenges you are, maybe has an idea or a script like Elliot brought last week. Or we've had Nolly Williams on in the past, talked about lead generation.
We're going to get Nolly on
We've had Trent Chapman talk about lead generation and escalations.
Guy.
Yeah, that guy Trent he's a jerk. Just kidding, buddy.
Just see if he's watching.
Brian Gubernick's talked about escalations.
Oh, I love Brian Gubernick.
Yeah, think you love Brian a little too much.
Hey, dude, I like Brian.
I noticed. Because
Brian can get as fired up as I can get.
Except nobody knows
But he's the good boy.
Yeah.
So anyway, you ready to wrap it up, buddy?
Poster child, actually.
Poster child, yes. You ready to wrap it up, buddy?
1, 2, 3.
Short sale power hour! Short sale power hour!
Crush it from Austin.
Thanks, corporate sponsor. Have a great day.